I would love to ask you two more questions, if I may. Um, uh, who have been some of your inspirations as you were growing up or as you were evolving? And how do you apply any of those inspirational people, whether they were living human beings or archetypal figures? How do you apply those to your work now as a spiritual teacher?
But when I was a boy, I was very, very taken by Abraham Lincoln. I read everything I could. I read Carl Sandburg's work and all these people about Lincoln. And it was my 12th birthday, I think. My mother took me and a friend and my younger brother on a trip to Lincoln Country. I lived in Wisconsin, so we went to Springfield, we went to New Salem, and it was just like a miracle for me to see the house where Lincoln lived in and all that. It was the real high point for me. And I was wrestling whether I should try to follow Lincoln and be a lawyer, or whether I was feeling called to try the Dominicans to be what I became. And and I remember this one line in Lincoln that was burned in my soul at a very young age. He said, "Be an honest lawyer, and if you cannot be an honest lawyer, be honest without being a lawyer." And I think that sentence, which stayed for me so long, so affirmed the whole reality of a vocation, of a calling. And I think that it's played out for me. I like that quote from Joe Campbell: "None of us lives the life we had intended." So here I became a Dominican, uh, friar is the official name, not really a monk, but a friar. And I studied hard and I went to Paris to study and all that. But then after a while, with my writing and everything, I ran into some buzzsaws from the Vatican. But I think that invitation to conscience from Lincoln stayed with me very strongly, because that one sentence, I always loved it. If you cannot be an honest lawyer, be honest without being a lawyer. There are more important things than the profession that we join. You're either going to do it well and do it with integrity and conscience, or pay the price. And of course, if you do it with conscience and integrity, you're going to pay a price. That's certainly something I've learned about after I was evicted from the order after 34 years for daring to talk about God as mother and God as child, and working with Native Americans and so forth. The objections the Vatican at that time, not this present version of the Vatican, but before them, were of that ilk. So Lincoln was very important to me. And I got polio when I was 12, and I met this Dominican brother who was not a priest, but a brother, and was very gentle. He would come and visit me regularly in the hospital, because I was in the hospital for months. And my father had been a football coach in Wisconsin. I thought I was going to grow up and be a football star like my older brothers and like he was. But here I lost my legs, and they couldn't tell me if I would get my legs back. So I realized, I got to get a new model for what it means to be a man. And this fellow kind of walked into my life. He was very contemplative. He was so contemplative that after a few years of being a Dominican brother, he left the Dominicans to become a Trappist monk, because Trappist monks are well, like Thomas Merton, they live a very severe contemplative life. And so he had a real subtle effect on me, because he was extremely gentle, very different from my father, who was very strong character and into football. And so I realized, there are various ways to be a man in this world. Now, as it turned out, after about a year, I did get my legs back, and I did play football and loved sports, still do love sports. But I learned this lesson. And when I got my legs back, I remember saying to the universe, I'll never take my legs for granted again. So that really, when I look back on it, was a very mystical moment. Not because I often define the mystic as one who doesn't take for granted even a breath. Each breath we receive is a gift. And and that's what meditation is recognizing, paying attention to these gifts that come so regularly to us, but we can often take for granted. So life itself, light itself, as we've been talking about, is not something to take for granted. So those are two people, that lay brother and Abraham Lincoln, who influenced me when I was a boy. And I think and then I've had so many wonderful teachers and so many other mystics that I've encountered and written about that have really, what can I say, blown my soul wide open over the years, and especially Meister Eckhart and Hildegard of Bingen, whose painting is behind me. These great mystics, it's been such a privilege to be able to explore these great souls and call it work and even make a living doing it. What a gift. Oh, I'm sorry, there's some
Yeah,
yard